Hello and welcome back to the episodic guide of where I teach SoulCalibur players how to play Tekken, and vice versa. Tekken 7 is on its way to console release on June 2nd, so this video is geared more towards that. So, in this video, I want to continue and talk about hit levels and blocking in general, and like certain states that will allow you to be evasive and also want to talk about while standing states. So that's a lot in this video, but yeah, so the first part will be SoulCalibur and the second part will be Tekken. So if you want to see the Tekken portion, just go ahead and fast forward on the YouTube video. Another thing I want to note is that if you're a Tekken player and a SoulCalibur player, you probably know almost all of these, if not all of these, hit levels. So there isn't a whole lot to learn in that regard. And let's begin. So in SoulCalibur we have all these hit levels that I've displayed on the bottom of the screen. These are how they appear in your command list. They're the same pictures. So we'll start from left to right. So to begin with, we have highs, which can be beaten by blocking high or by crouching and they whiff. So you may be wondering, okay, well that loses to both blocks, so why would you want to do them? Well, the answer is pretty simple. Highs tend to have really good frames, and they tend to have a pretty good hitbox. So you use it basically in the neutral or like to counter poke. So that's what highs are for. They're used for the frames and the space that they control. Okay, and that's all there is for highs. Now mids, mids are moves that can be blocked from standing, but not from crouch. So this is how you open up people who are ducking. You throw mids at them. And that's all mids are used for. That's the point of that hit level. And then the next hit level are lows. So lows are moves that can be blocked from a crouching state, the reason why you would duck, and then they don't work on, or they work on people who are standing, assuming it doesn't whiff randomly. So that will hit people who are standing, lows. That's what lows are for. Then the next hit level is a special low. Now a special low is a move that can be blocked either standing or crouching. Well, you may be wondering, okay, well, why would I want to use a special low if it can be blocked standing or crouching? For the same exact reason that I said for highs. They have really good frames and they're very important for counter poking. Okay. And now the next one is a special mid. That's what that stands for. So a special mid, just like a special low, can be blocked from standing and crouching. So wait a minute, what's the difference between a special low and a special mid? Well, I'll tell you what the difference is. So, a special low, I will show an example right now, can be jumped. This also applies to lows in general. So if you see a low or a special low, you have the option to jump over them. That is the point of jumping in 3D Fighter, so you can evade all the lows and special lows in the game as long as you're airborne. Every single one of them. And with that being said, highs can also be ducked under, right? Like I said earlier in this video. But you can also do a ducking move under them. I don't know why you taught there. Right, so if you have a move that crouches, you can get under highs. So that is the point of the crouching state, like moves that technically crouch. So that's the term for moves that do this. So TJ that you'll see in frame data means you're technically jumping, tech jump. And then TC means you're technically crouching, tech crouch. And that's all that is whenever you look at frame data. Now special mids, like I said, can be blocked either standing or crouching, but the difference here is that they cannot be jumped like special lows. So if I were to do a special low with Algol, which would be his bubble, or a special mid with Algol, which is his bubble, I can't jump it, but I could either block it standing, or I could block it crouching. So that's what a special mid is. Alright? You won't have to make this distinction in Tekken, since every special mid does not exist. There's only special lows in Tekken. So that's a hit level you never have to worry about whenever you're playing Tekken. Now, those are... I'm gonna not try to talk about them too much, because I want to make a video specifically for throws, since they work very differently in this game than in Tekken. But essentially, I'll just leave it at this. Typically, you can duck under throws, and typically, you can jump over throws. The only exceptions are air grabs and crouch throws, which Viol does not have, but a character like Astaroth does. So, then they also exist in Tekken. But the throw break system, I'm not going to really talk about that, or how to apply throws, until a later video. And then the last hit level isn't really a hit level, but it can make the hit levels a little bit trickier. And what I mean by that is, they're called unblockable attacks. So, this is an unblockable mid. So, if someone were to be crouching or standing, it would hit them. Right? Because normally against a mid, you can block it. But if it's an unblockable mid, you cannot. And if it's crouching, it's still a mid, and it's still unblockable, so it's not going to work there. So you may be wondering, well, that's really good. Yeah, it is, in very specific situations, because usually unblockables are completely reactionary, and you can just evade them by recognizing the animation. So if you see, like, this unblockable, for example, the solution here would be either to interrupt her, or what's easier in this game, in my opinion, is just to sidestep. So that's what an unblockable attack is. I will do an example with Algol's unblockable. That is an unblockable mid. Yep. But you can easily evade it by moving. Yep, so that's all the hit levels in SoulCalibur. And briefly, I will talk about while standing states and crouching states. Just because I feel like they are... Oh my god, you hear that dog? You hear that dog making noise in my room? Sorry, this is unprofessional, but it is live streamed. And it's my video, so deal with it. Please don't dislike it. Please. Anyways. Before I got distracted, I want to talk about full crouch states and while standing states. So what's the difference between a full crouch state and a while standing state? So a full crouch state is when you are in crouch, and you are not leaving the crouch state. So, for example, like these moves are all the buttons Viol has in a crouching state. But in a while standing state, when you're transitioning from crouch to standing, it's basically like a stance. And from this, she has while standing B. You see how I release the guard button? And then press B. That is how you do a while standing attack. This is her while standing B. This is her while standing A. This is her while standing K. Another thing to note about about these crouch states is that when you're in crouch, you can perform jump moves. And you can also, in SoulCalibur, not in Tekken, perform your 6 Bs, 6 As, 6 Ks, etc. Or you can do that from the back direction as well. You can do your 4 Bs, you can do your 4 Ks, and you can do your 4 As. So when you're forced into positions where you have to crouch, just remember you still have access to your forward moves, your back moves. All those are accessible in a crouching state, whereas like the others are not. And that's all there is to the hit levels and the evasiveness and the while standing moves, etc. portion of the SoulCalibur part. So welcome to the Tekken portion of this guide. I will say that if you watch the SoulCalibur half, which I recommend you doing so, because this part is going to be basically speedrun. The only real differences here is that special mid does not exist. While whenever you're doing a jump move, it's not called a tech jump, it's called a low crush because you're evading lows. Whenever you're doing a tech crouch, it's called a high crush because you're evading highs. So that's like a difference in terminology. Another difference in terminology is the unblockable attacks are denoted as an exclamation point whenever you look at frame data. So that's another difference in itself. And then the only other difference in this game is that you have a low parry system. So if someone tries to do a low or a special low, you can hold down forward and you will perform a low parry. So let me give you an example. So that's him doing it from a special low, or sorry, regular low, and then this is from a special low. And you can think of low parries as 0 damage launchers. And that is literally the only differences between hit levels in this game and SoulCalibur. And one last thing I want to add is that you cannot do forward and back moves when you're in crouch, because if you try to input it, you'll just get your while standing move. So like I tried to input Diligence forward 4 and I got while standing 4 when I try to do it from crouch, and if I try to do Diligence back 4, I will still get while standing 4 from a crouching state. And that is the only difference. I will also say another difference in terminology, which I totally almost forgot, is that in SoulCalibur, when you see it written, it's WR for while rising, but in this game, it's WS for while standing. In this game, there is a WR, and that is for your while running moves. So some moves can only be accessed by traveling a certain distance. So I'll do... Sorry about the bad backdash. Running 4. While running 4. So WR, if you see it in Tekken, don't get it twisted with SoulCalibur, it's while rising, because WR means while running. There's Diligence while running 3, as opposed to Diligence while standing 3, WS. So those are all the differences between the SoulCalibur notation and the Tekken notation.